Yay, we're live again today. Welcome everybody. Welcome back to our abundance reading. Today is our day 127. One moment. Let's get it's live streaming to our YouTube channel. Let me put this YouTube channel live on our screen. Let me just one moment, put it into a playlist. That's just a little trick I got from my YouTube channel. When you make sure that it's in your playlist so that it could go live, playing on your YouTube channel. Cool. So we're getting back quickly. Today is 127 for this year, 2023. We're on Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. And today we are on our page, page 22. We're continuing on the charismatic leader. How many of you wants to become such a leader? Especially with the charismatic, charisma, right? With your charisma and also become attractive character. And yesterday we shared the first 3 rules. Rule number 1, become an attractive character and live the life your audience wishes they could live. Rule 2 is maintain absolute certainty. And rule 3 is, let me see, where's the rule 3? Let's find a bold one. Don't be boring. This is a big one, right? Don't be boring. How many of us needs to challenge ourselves every day to go outside of our box, become creative? And today we continue, okay? There are another 3 rules, how to become a charismatic leader. And today, rule number 4, understand how to use persuasion. This is a big one, right? So many of you, even though you do not want to be a leader, but don't you want to be a persuader? You want to persuade other people, right? And not just in your work, even for your family, right? For your, let's say your partner or even kids, right? Anyone you get in contact with and whatever you may interact with them, you want to be able to persuade them to do things that you wish you can accomplish together, right? So understand how to use persuasion. Throughout this book, you will learn how to persuade people. In fact, everything you learn in both section 2 and 3 of this book are all about persuasion. So this is not just about marketing, about funnels, right? Click funnels. This is about leadership first and mass movement, like this whole section we're talking about. So let's go. I want you to understand the core foundation of persuasion. One of my favorite books on this topic is the One Sentence Persuasion Course. Ooh, this is great. One Sentence Persuasion Course by Blair Warren. I love his recommendation as well. Blair is a persuasion expert who spent over a decade studying and using persuasion. During that journey, he broke down exactly how to persuade people in one simple sentence. People will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. The last part made me laugh. Okay, so he just you stand together with them. They feel like you are their ally, right? And it's both encourage their dreams, like best friends, justify their failures, best buddy, right? Allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. It's just stand together, like alliance and the best friends with them. Okay, so this great sentence. When I first read that, it made such a big impact. I wanted to remember it forever. So I made this graphic as a reminder. I will show you one moment. Okay, One Sentence Persuasion. Russell Brunson's famous kind of a cartoon pictures is very easy to understand. So this is really they are basically these 2 little men are throwing stones together, right? Helping them throwing the stones to the enemy. Okay, so first, so he put those 5 areas. Let's see. Let me put there the first number 1 is where. Okay, let me add this for Russell's picture. I'm adding numbers. Okay, for sequence, I love sequence, so I know where to go first. Encourage dreams. That's number 1. Then justify their failures and allay fears, throw rocks at enemies, and finally confirm suspicions. Actually, he did not exactly follow the let's see, the sequence. I believe that the author wants to put the throw rocks at enemies at the end. You do not really want to fight. Okay, so that's my now new one with the sequence. It's much easier for me to understand. Here is a quick recap of why each of these is so important. I included Blair's explanations as well because he explains these concepts as so masterfully. Encourage their dreams. As the leader, it's vital that you first understand your audience dreams, then encourage them inside the new opportunity you are creating for them. This is super true. Understand their dreams, where they truly want to go, what motivates them, what makes them feel inspired and aspired, right? Parents often discourage their children's dreams for their own good and attempt to steer them toward more reasonable goals. And children often accept this as normal until others come along who believe in them and encourage their dreams. When this happens, who do you think has more power? Parents or strangers? Wow, important, right? If your child, for example, anyone in your life, if they are passionate about something, if you discourage them and want them just to go reasonable path as you think it's reasonable, it's good for them, but it's not their true passion. But there's, even though there's a like stranger, maybe they resonate with that and understand the encouragement of them. Do you think it has more power? Wow, this kind of a stories will be powerful. Like you could have a parenting, for example, for parents, you could have parenting for over 15 or 16 years, right? Maybe, but if you do not fully understand your children's dreams, you may not as powerful as some other strangers who may understand them better. So that's why parents, if you really want to have a better influence and impact with to your kids and to anyone, right? You want to truly understand first their dreams. Justify their failures. Most people will become followers and then fans will have tried to make a change before. You will not be the first person they have tried to learn from. For some reason, they didn't get their needs met from any prior encounters. It's important that you take the blame for past failures off their shoulders and place it back onto the old opportunities they attempted in the past. This way, they will be more open to try your new opportunity. This is a great reminder. And normally we may, like, if you are not cautious, right? Sometimes you may automatically say, oh, you did not do that right? We may judge people, we may even blame people, right? For say, that's your fault. But people really need encouragement. They really need people to justify their failures. And maybe they did some efforts, right? Put some efforts there, but it did not work. So they need that kind of understanding and justify the failures. While millions cheer Dr. Phil as he tells people to accept the responsibility for their mistakes, millions more are looking for someone to take the responsibility off their shoulders. And that's why people love Jesus and God, because they help them, like Jesus and God help people take off their sins, take off their burdens, right? And just follow God, follow Jesus is much easier. And to tell them that they are not responsible for their lots in life. And while accepting responsibility is essential for gaining control of one's own life, assuring others they are not responsible is essential for gaining influence over theirs. One need look no further than politics to see this powerful game played at its best. Wow, this is actually a big one, because normally I know my habits sometimes is just very straightforward and correct people. I may just point out to them what is right. And that could really offend people sometimes, I believe so, right? And even though through all these years, I learned to be more understandable. Do not really put people too much, expectation too much to them, and then they take too much responsibility and or make them feel guilty, right? So this is super important. Justify their failures. Have that empathy. Exactly. I need to put it here. So this will remind me. Empathy. Because nobody likes failures, right? Nobody wants to even though they did maybe they did not do that much, right? They should do much more, but at least they tried and they did not get what they want. At least we should have some empathy, because we're just humans. Nobody is really like a Superman or like all these movies, right? Marvel's Supermans. We all have our weaknesses and limitations. So have more empathy to people and understanding of them. Next one is the allay their fears. To allay is to diminish or put to rest. If you can put their fears to rest and give them hope, they will follow you to the ends of the earth and back again. Put their fears to rest and give them hope. This is huge, right? Give them the hope. And that's why Jesus is so, like, again, right? Jesus is so popular because he puts help people to put them to rest, their fears to rest, and give them that hope. And that's why people want to follow all this. Either they take it as a religion or maybe like faith, right? People want that because that brings them hope. Because life is not easy. Everybody, every day could have many challenges, and through lifetime we have many like dark times. And God, Jesus, the religion, and also faith really give people big hope. So, especially for those people like quite feel like life has no hope, and in that kind of situation, they will be more desperately want to find some resource, find some hope, find light. When we are afraid, it's almost impossible to concentrate on anything else. And while everybody knows this, what do we do when someone else is afraid and we need to get their attention? That's right. We tell them not to be afraid and expect that to do the trick. Does it work? Hardly. Yeah, people say, oh, don't this and don't that, right? And yet we don't seem to notice. We go on as if we solved the problem and the person before us fades further away. But there are those who do realize this and pay special attention to our fears. They do not tell us not to be afraid. They work with us until our fear subsides. I love this. Work with us until our fear subsides. It's like they face the fear together with us. It's important. They present evidence. They offer support. It's just like standing in the fear with you. They tell us stories, but they do not tell us how to feel and expect us to feel that way. Tell us stories, okay? Stories to inspire people. When you are afraid, which type of person do you prefer to be with? The one who is standing with you, right? Standing together with you like a fellow, the outcome of fellowship, and support you, go through it. And they work with us until our fear subsides. They have the patience to accompany you this journey. It's really like, share this journey, okay? Share the journey with you. All right, next one is confirm their suspicions. Your audience is already suspicious of you and others in your market. They want to believe change is possible, but they are skeptical about making the leap forward. When you can confirm in story format that you had similar suspicions and describe how you overcame them, it will bound people to you. Story format, okay, story format. They had similar suspicions and describe how you overcome them, you bound them. It's just like okay, here we use another one, use another format. People call it like feel, felt, and found. It's like you can feel people, what they are afraid of, what they suspicious about. You feel them. Let them know that you stand together with them, and also share you felt that kind of, you felt before, you had a similar experience before. You also had like skeptical experience. And in the story format, to share with them, okay? And then later you found out how you like went through that, how you overcome them. Here, that's your story. And then what did you find, right? And that will bound people to you. One of our favorite things to say is, I knew it. There is just nothing quite like having our suspicions confirmed. When another person confirms something that we suspect, we not only feel a surge of superiority, we feel attracted to the one who helped to make that surge come about. Hitler confirmed the suspicions of many Germans about the cause of their troubles and drew them further into his power by doing so. Cults often confirm the suspicions of a prospective members by telling them that their families are out to sabotage them. It is a simple thing to confirm the suspicions of those who are desperate to believe them. Throw rocks at their enemies. The last one. Okay, one big key to growing your following is creating us versus them. Wow. Okay, growing your following. The one big key to growing your following is creating us versus they within your community. It's like a polarity. Remember that polarity? Create, maybe illuminated kind of enemies. That's like increasing the conflicts, but also at the same time increasing that bonding for the same side, right? Take a stand for what you believe, why you are different, and who you are collectively fighting against. Why is your movement better than the alternatives? Who are you are collectively fighting against? So for example, for my people, what we're fighting against? The chain of, for example, the corporate world. To me, it's not like freedom at all, right? It's not fulfillment. That's even majority of people are still working in the corporate. I personally, I'm not against the corporates. I just feel like for personally, if you have choice, corporate is definitely not the best stage. I used to think big companies, I want to go to big companies, right? I did work on national and also international big companies. And so the bigger stages, I will feel more like my capabilities could be more developed, or my future could be better. But it turned out it's not true. Okay, it's not like how big is, just not about how big is the stage, but the corporate world is just really limiting you. It's like a chain, but the majority of people think that track is like rational in this society, right? So majority of people are still, I feel like ants, like it's just like this kind of society is already defined this, and you would just keep working in that way to keep that kind of a routine or rules. But it should not be that way. So I'm not sure if this is the best one, and who I'm connectively fighting against, because normally I'm not a fighting person. I do not want to fight, especially towards humans. So let's see what else I could fight with. Definitely not kind of freedom. That's what I fight for. What I fight against is like a corporate employee, right? Employment. That's what I'm fighting with. What else? Employment, and I think that's a big one so far. Why is your movement better than alternatives? My movement is helping people to become, it's just like stand out in their purposeful. First, they discover the purposeful and profitable niche, right? Find their purpose, find their passion, find what's a niche, and then stand out as a confident expert and thought leader to transform and impact more lives. And that's where I've been with. So we're fighting against mediocrity. How do you call that? Mediocrity. And people just taking whatever routine life. Some people call them like walking dead or zombie, right? There are so many zombies in this world. They're just like following routine, and they could even create a hatred, all this kind of conflicts. But at the same time, they're just like a zombie walking everywhere. Don't know what's their purpose, what's their meaning of their life. And they just keep doing things, similar things every day. Routine. There are so many walking dead. If you go to, for example, gambling place, I never do gambling, but I know some friends because we're Chinese, right? So many Chinese people, including my kid's dad, he does gambling as well. So fortunately, he did not fully lost into it. He still has his own control as a lawyer, thank God. But majority other people, normal people, mediocre people, they do not have that kind of self-control. And when I visit some like casinos, when you go to Las Vegas, maybe in those hotels, right? All the hotel first lobby is casino place. So many some people maybe, quite some people traveling there is for fun. But there are also some kind of people, they're like professional gamblers, right? Like every day just like merge into that kind of environment. Do not feel, if you look at their eyes, look at their facial expression, you do not see any light, any inspiration. It's just that kind of life is like, you just want, for me, I just want to avoid even like contact with those people. It's just like, oh my God, I feel like it's so painful. for them. I feel like they got lost. I just feel like so sorry for their families as well. And so that's like what you are against with, okay? For me, it's like a mediocre, walking dead, without purpose, without life, without passion. And another one is also like employment. That's what I'm against. Nothing bounds like having a common enemy. I realize how ugly this sounds, and yet it is true just the same. Those who understand this can utilize this. Those who don't understand it, or worse, understand but refuse to address it, are throwing away one of the most effective ways of connecting with others. No matter what you may think of this, rest assured that people have enemies. So to me, I'm glad at least I clarified it too, right? All people, it has been said that everyone you meet is engaged in a great struggle. Yeah, everyone you meet is engaged in a great struggle. The thing they are struggling with is their enemy. That's true. Struggling with your enemy. For example, if some of us are struggling with money, like in the business, making with money, is the money our enemy? Whether it's another individual, a group, an illness, a setback, a rival, it's not money. It should be like, it can describe it another way, poverty. That's what they're struggling with, okay? For example, poverty. People could, poverty could be, let's see, walking dead. That's first one without meaning, right? Another one is poverty. And let's see. So employment, actually, I should not put the employment directly there. If they are having passion doing what they love in the employment world, right, in the corporate world, still fine, it's still good. So I should clarify that the walking dead one, just without meaning, walking in this world, doesn't know what's their purpose, what's their meaning. Another one is poverty. Okay, this is true. And also, for example, illness. This is what me and my daughter, we are fighting with. For example, eczema. She created this community and a project called Goodbye Eczema. Eczema is the enemy because it's so bothering. Make people so suffering from the red and itching skin, right? It's just like, that's horrible. So far I put those three: walking dead, poverty, and illness. That's the three enemies I feel like in my world. How about you? What are the enemies you have? So this is definitely some highlights I will share later. Whether it's about, okay, here I just said already, a group, an illness, a setback, a rival, philosophy, or religion, or what have you, when one is engaged in a struggle, one is looking for others to join him. Those who do become more than friends. They become partners. Okay, partners, we are doing things. For example, where I'm doing the financial business and helping people to, what's the enemy? The enemy is like people struggling with their money issue, and they don't know how to manage their money, like their lack of money knowledge and solution. And that's what we fight for. And then we have partners together to do that. So that's wonderful. Now the next one, rule number 5, care a lot. The next part of being a charismatic leader is showing people that you actually care about them. There is an odd saying that goes, they don't care how much they know until they know how much you care. If your audience thinks you are just in this to make money, your vehicle for change will not last long. That's right. Your following will not grow. In fact, it will shrink very quickly. If you choose your ideal clients correctly, you'll have people you'd be willing to serve and teach and train for free, because that's how much you care about them. One struggle most of us have as we try to serve our audience is the guilt, sometimes associated with getting them to pay you. There are 2 reasons it's essential to their success that they pay you. First, those who pay attention, okay? So care a lot. If you really care about them and you care them get really good results, you want them to pay you. And, those who pay attention. Over the last decade, I've invited my friends or family members to sit in on events that others have paid $25,000 to attend. No, not once in those 10 years has a single one of those people who sat in for free launched a successful company. Yet in the same room sat people who invest in themselves. They heard the exact same information, and because they had invested money to be there, turned that same information into multi-million-dollar a year companies. See, you would really be serious until you pay. Okay. Yes, those who pay attention, and the more they pay, the closer attention they pay. That's exactly true. I had experience with such kind of clients as well. Sometimes you really want to help them, give them so cheap and so easy access, and they do not appreciate that. This is a human nature, okay? It's not blaming anybody. It's just like every one of us could be that way. Remember, like in relationships, if you stay in years, then many of us lose that appreciation of each other, just take granted, right? And sometimes it's because it's so familiar. And it's like a natural law. You get so familiar and you ignore something. It's not like you intentionally to ignore. It's just like get too familiar. I remember there's some like law they call familiarity law, something like that. So you're actually doing your audience a huge disservice if you undervalue what you are selling. That's true. You are actually doing your audience a huge disservice if you undervalue what you are selling. Like if you really charge very cheap, right? You don't think like maybe you deserve, charge them more, right? You just want to give them convenience, or they do not have that money, they could not afford, so I just charge them a little. It's deserve them, because if they're not investing much and really like putting that attention or commitment into it, they were not cherished and they will not create great things. Okay. Second, the more success you have, the less time you will have. That's true. The more success you have, the less time you will have. I remember when I first started, how proud I was that I answered all my customer support emails and talked often for hours to everyone who asked me a question. I thought I was serving my audience. But because of how accessible I was to everyone, I wasn't able to serve many people at all. You will need to put up barriers to protect your time, so you can serve more people by charging for what you do. You are showing those who do invest how much you really care about their success. That's true. It's like there's another rule, for example, for designing product or offer, right? It's just like people need to pay more to get more access of your time. And it's just like the more time you give, it should be more expensive, because your time is super valuable, okay, with your knowledge, with what you could provide. Okay, so now next rule 6, offer them value from their perceived relationship with you. They've subscribed to your list, read your blog, and listen to your podcast. They are hearing from you all the time. They want to see some sort of value in return for the time they are spending with you, and they want to get value as they define it. One big mistake we experts often make is trying to apply what we value most as others' standard for success. Okay, so we value most as others' standard for success. We're quick to find the value as some result we assume they're seeking, like make $1 million or lose 50 pounds. But that's not always how they define the value they want to get. Sometimes they just want to be part of a community. Sometimes they just want to get to know you. Ooh, that would be the most ideal way, right? Okay, so then they just want to be part of a community, and some people love to consume and learn, and that's how they feel they get value. Okay, so don't you think like not necessarily everybody make that much money is like get the best value? Okay, so this is like eye-opener, right? Eye-opener. We can't push our definition of value on them. We have to allow them to feel that in the way they define. That's actually a very challenging one, because so many of us, we tend to assume that we understand our audience, our clients, right? And think that we understand what they need, but actually they have their own way of evaluation. I remember back when I joined my first mastermind group, we were at lunch and my mentor, Bill Glazer, and I were discussing this topic. He said, you have to realize that people join mastermind groups for different reasons. Yeah, some people come because they want an immediate return on their investment, while others are there just to learn, okay? So others come because they want to show off. Some people want a community. that kind of belonging. And some just don't have anything better to do. Whoa, that people must have money. If you try to force success as you see it on them when they really just want to be part of your community or they just love learning, it's easy to alienate people from your tribe. They have to get value as they define it. Those are a few of the keys to becoming a more interesting and charismatic leader. Understand, though, that you don't become that leader overnight. Start sharing your message and become consistent with it so you can find your voice. This is like we're finding our voice as well. I thought, and by the way, this is really evolving process. Like at a certain time, right, we thought, oh, we've already found our voice. But after you keep developing, after a while, you feel like, oh, I still need to expand myself more, right? I need to clarify more and get to another level. Figure out where your message can polarize people into true fans. Okay, polarize, remember that word? Share your backstory and flaws. Be transparent. And over time, say backstory and flaws. Over time, you will naturally become the leader your tribe needs. Wow. So quickly here, this parts the 3 rules. Understand how to use persuasion. And that's for a leader. And care a lot. Leaders really care a lot, especially those like a servant type of leaders. They really care a lot. And rule 6, offer them value from their perceived relationship with you. Ooh. And plus the first 3, right? We will read that before. So total the 6 rules. And let me quickly review to see which one I may think I need the biggest improvement there. So number 1, number 2, maintain absolute certainty. Don't be boring. So number 3, definitely I need a challenge. Sometimes I feel like I'm boring. And sometimes I feel I'm genius and so creative. And so I'm in between. So I need to further learn about that polarity and also remember prolific index. That's super important for me. Like prolific index. Where should I go? That's a challenge. I will keep challenging myself to get there. And how to use persuasion. Yeah, we've been doing that since we're young. I know my daughter, sometimes I feel like she's a great persuader, like practice and debate, right? And then care a lot. This is actually my strength. I care so much. Number 6, offer them value from their perspective relationship with you. Okay, this is a great reminder to me. Because sometimes, like I said, we assume, we think we are providing great values. But from their perceived relationship with us. So we need how do we know? Here did not mention about that, but here I personally want to add a few comments. We need to have more conversations, more survey, more, this is like interactions, and you need to know as you go, right, on this journey, anytime, to understand how they are pursuing the values. Like also on the social media, it's relatively easier to see how many people are giving you either the thumb up and especially they give comments, specifically clarify what they are inspired. That's a great one. So you want to have more great content to get people feedback to learn about it, how much value you are contributing. So that's a secret one, okay? So how much time we read? Let me see. This book is great, but it's also taking a lot of time. Let me see if I want to start the second one. And how many pages it has for a second day? Every chapter, a lot of okay, I will start to read because there are so many. I just want to start to 22 secrets. And so we just finished the number 1. Secret number 1 is about a charismatic leader and attractive character. This is really important starting point. I love Russell started with this one. And the second secret number 2 is the course. From the charismatic leader to the course. This is super important. Interesting. I normally start with majority for some people, right? Start with the course, with the why part. And Russell started from a different angle, but I still loved it, right? It's really mass impact and also mass movement and also the charismatic leader. He focused first on the whole part. And now the second part is the course. The future, the course, your culture. See this picture? Future. the course. Okay, the second piece you need in order to create a mass movement is a future-based course. For every political, social, or religious movement throughout history, the charismatic leader paints the picture of the future they're trying to create and what life will be like when they get there. That's like a vision. Right? To me, this, let me comment here, it's like a vision. They create that vision and they show that vision to other people and get them on the same board. Right? That's also like a course, it's a movement as well. As I mentioned before, my inner circle mastermind group spends a lot of time talking about building out your own culture. I hyphenated the word because I don't want you to look at this like a traditional business trying to build a customer culture. They are very different. When I got serious about growing my company and taking my message to the masses, I started how cults, both positive and negative, were built. I discovered several common threads running through all their stories, elements that are so much more powerful than anything you'll ever read about building customer culture in a traditional sense. We're going to look at these elements and how to include them in your business to create your own positive movement, your own culture. This is super important, create your own positive movements, your own culture, creating a mass movement. And now here's number 1, 2, 3, this triangle. I will read the detail to you, okay? From here, the mass movement. Number 1 is charismatic leader, attractive character. That's what we just read from the secret 1. And now the course, this is the course, okay? Let me see. The course on the top. Oh, the virtual screen. The top, the culture, the course. The first one is a charismatic leader. The third one is new opportunity. I remember he mentioned about this at the beginning. Our job as expert and leader is to help bring people to higher ground, to move them from where they are to where they want to be. In his book, The True Believer, Eric Hoffer says, put this, love those, when he has all this reference, and later we could use this for our reading list as well. Fear of the future causes us to lean against and cling to the present, while faith in the future renders us perspective to change. Faith in the future. In circumstances where people fear the future, they typically stop moving forward. For you to have success in this business, you have to give your followers hope of something better, so they will be perceptive to the change you're going to offer them. And let them can't wait, okay? You do that by painting a vision of the future that they want. That's true. Painting a vision of the future that they want. That's what thought leaders do, right? You paint a vision that people really want, and also they desire to get into it, and that will move them into action. Most people want to cast all the faith and personal responsibility into something bigger than themselves. It happens in religion, it happens in political movements, it happens in the workplace, and it will be true for your movements as well. People want to plug into something bigger than themselves, so it's your job to create that vision. Here are a few key principles that will help you create your future-based course. This is one of actually a line actually with our last week's topic, the dreams and the vision board. Okay, so all right, I think I will stop here, and tomorrow we will get a new energy back into this. Okay, so this is like a vision and the future-based course part. I love this. How about you? How about you? What's your best inspirations? I actually will, after this, I will get to, you can review our replay, and I will get to our Instagram actually to have a within 5 minutes highlights. That's a challenge for me to digest what we just read and get into like a summarize into some highlights, and also digest so that I could share with our audience from Instagram. So everyone, thank you so much. I know this is Sunday night, and tomorrow we will see you on our Facebook. Inside of our Abundant Entrepreneurs group, we have our Momentum Mondays. So make sure that you will join us, okay? So keep this momentum. Have a good rest, and we will see you tomorrow. Take good care. Bye-bye.